Doctor Who, The Tomb of the Cybermen, the 8th story of the second Doctor, is written by Kate Pedler and Jerry Davis and starring Patrick Troughton, Fraser Hines and Deborah Watling. So yeah, Innes Lloyd got replaced by a script editor, Peter Bryant. Victor Pemberton is a script for this story, but sadly left as he didn't want to do any more. So their story was going to be called The Ice Tombs of Telos, then Cybermen Planet, and changed to The Tomb of the Cybermen. So the story opens with, after the events of The Evil of the Daleks, where the Doctor and Jamie shows Victoria the inside of the TARDIS and tells her what the TARDIS is. So on the planet Telos, after the expedition blows up the couple of places, the rocks, they found metal doors up the cliff, so they climbed up. Captain says £50 for anyone who opens the door, and so a poor guy, as soon as he touched the door, he gets electrocuted to death, which seems pretty painful. So the Doctor, Victoria and Jamie arrived, noticing that the guy is dead, so there's a bit of arguing, so in the end they let the Doctor use a device so he can open the door safely, but it was too heavy for him and Jamie, so Toberman managed to open it, and they went inside it. The bit where the Doctor and Jamie takes Victoria's hand, Patrick Troughton and Fraser Hines actually worked that out themselves because of the camera size, and they can't retake it because of the budget, which is well planned. So everyone examines the machines. We obviously know that Captain Eric Klieg are evil. She plans to keep an eye on Victoria, Klieg keeps an eye on the Doctor, and Toberman is keeping an eye on Jamie. John Viner, Captain and Victoria looked in one room, and Captain looked Victoria inside a container. So eventually the Doctor got Victoria out of there, so the Doctor and Klieg talk each other about the controls. Meanwhile, Jamie and Hayden are inside the testing room. They use a console looking at the wall, some kind of hypnotic. Because of their fascination, they messed on with it, and the Doctor came in with Viner. Cyberman came in and a gun blasted Hayden. My god, what an intense cliffhanger. Professor Parry came in wondering what was going on. The Doctor figured out as Hayden got shot in the back by a cyber gun. It was a replica of a Cyberman, and the gun is there to test it. Victoria has found a Cybermat, so she picked it up, and the Doctor examines it and tells her that it's a Cybermat, and he also advised her to leave it alone.
What's a Cybermat?
It's one of those. I'd leave it alone if I were you. Come along.
However, Victoria decides to put it in her handbag. Because of 2 deaths, Professor Parry suggests everyone to leave the building. Captain Hopper mentioned that someone has sabotaged the rocket and it's going to take quite some time for it to repair. So he and Callum left. Klieg, with the Doctor's help, operated the controls and the hatch opened. So everyone except Victoria and Captain went in. The Doctor wanted Victoria to stay and keep an eye on Captain. The sets of the Ice Tomb, can't say how fantastic it is for low budget series. There's hell of a talent there. Captain spiked Victoria's drink so she gets put to sleep for a bit, while Captain closes the hatch and everyone's worried except Klieg, getting trapped down there as he's using the controls to unfreeze the ice tombs to release the Cybermen, and he killed Viner because he tried to keep the Cybermen in the ice tombs. We get a fantastic scene with Cybermen coming out of the ice tombs with iconic music. It's so scary and intense. So Victoria woke up and realised that it was Captain who closed the hatch. So thanks to that Cybermat, as it jumped on Captain, she got distracted and Victoria blasted it. She has no idea which controls opens the hatch, so she goes to fetch Hopper and Callum. We also have a nicely done iconic cliffhanger where the Cybermen opened the door with logo and the cyber controller came out.
What is it? I think it's their leader, their controller, Jamie.
Klieg tries to ask their friendship in return for releasing them, but Cyber Controller knocked him on the ground and said that they're to be like them.
You belong to us. You shall be like us.
I love the voice. I love Patrick Troughton as the second Doctor. He's brilliant, eccentric, and I love his chemistry with his companions. Everything about him is well done. Fraser Hines is Jamie McCrimmon, fantastic companion who's a Highlander at Scotland in 1746. I also loved Deborah Watling as Victoria Waterfield, well developed, and she is pretty, and she's from a Victorian era her dad gets killed by the Daleks and she gets rescued by the Doctor and Jamie, which I like that. Becoming a companion by being rescued, I really do like that. They actually have actors from different countries playing the characters, which is nice. Roy Stewart played Toberman, a badass servant to Captain, and he kind of gets upgraded. What I mean is, he gets a cyber arm replacing his own arm, which looks cool. George Pastel played a villainous Eric Klieg who plans to release the Cybermen. His team joins in with Professor Parry's expedition. Peter Bryan's wife Shirley Cooklin played another villainous character, Captain, who was with Klieg and in charge of her little gang. Aubrey Richards played Professor Parry, who's in charge of an expedition to find what's left of Cybermen on Telos. Clive Merrison played Jim Callum, a crew member. George Rubicek played Captain Hopper, who's the captain of the ship. Cyril Shaps played John Viner, who's also a crew member and understandably has a phobia of what's inside the Cybertomb. There's also Bernard Holly and Alan Johns played Peter Hayden and Ted Rogers, a crew member as well. Hayden obviously gets in the way of testing room and got shot in the back by a cyber gun. Ray Grover played a poor crew member who got electrocuted to death as he tried to open the doors. The casts did very well. The story is well written and well directed. I love the stock music in this story, it fits in perfectly, it's so iconic. We have Cyber Controller who's in charge of Cybermen, and I think the design is pretty cool. And speaking of which, those Cybermen designs are literally the best because they're so terrifying. They're walking corpses in a machinery suit, and the way they're designed in electronic voices really suits them. I really do love the voice. This story not only introduces Cyber Controller but Cybermats as well, the rat-shaped sea creature looking thing, who are Cybermen's guards and plague carriers. I do like the Cybermats as well. I love to see more of them as they're creepy. The sets are well done for low budget. So in part 3 we learn that Cybermen knew that humans were coming to rescue them, so them examining the tomb is pretty much a trap. The Doctor finds a way to get everyone out, so he asks a Cyber Controller a question which kind of distracts them. And I love the battle scenes between humans and Cybermen. It's absolutely incredible and insane. The bit where Toberman fighting a Cyberman and got thrown onto the floor is completely mad. It's a great fight scene. So meanwhile, Victoria came back with Hopper and Callum trying to figure out which levers to pull. As soon as they figure out, Hopper grabs a couple of smoke grenades and gas the ice tomb so everyone except Klieg and Toberman managed to get out. It was pretty intense when a Cyberman grabbed the Doctor, but luckily Cyberman fell back down as the hatch closes, so later Klieg knocks on the hatch as everyone lets him in, so he and Captain gets locked away in the testing room. They notice that they can use that gun to get the Cybermen to cooperate with them. We get a nice moment where the Doctor and Victoria talk to each other about their families and saying no one in the universe can do what they're doing.
Anybody else's. That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
After the Doctor got Victoria to sleep, we get a scary moment where a Cybermat is approaching.
Cybermans will attack.
So the Doctor tells his companions to wake up because of the situation they're in.
Jamie, Victoria, Callum, wake up! Wake up!
It's pretty gangster when the Doctor knocked a Cybermat off Callum.
Don't move, Callum, don't move.
So after waking Professor Parry up and went to the controls, they used a big long electrical wire to disable the Cybermats, and I do love the Cybermat sound effects.
Here! Give me a hand, quick! What?
It's so scary sci-fi kind of sound. So Captain came in with Klieg, who's armed, and wounded Callum by blasting him. He tries to make a deal with Cyber Controller again, and I'm like, mate, you've tried this plenty of times, it's not gonna happen. So he sends the Doctor, Jamie, Professor Parry, and Cyber Controller in the container room. The Doctor managed to trap the controller in there, but not for long as he broke out. After Toberman is back being himself, Cyber Controller mind-controlled him again to knock Klieg out. So the Doctor, Jamie and Professor Parry and Cyber Controller came in. The controller killed Captain because she closed the hatch again and shooting at the Cyber Controller, but the bullets didn't work. It was pretty gangster when Toberman threw Cyber Controller at the control panel. So the Doctor and Cybermen went down the hatch. Klieg and Jamie went down with them. It's pretty funny when the Doctor says how powerful Klieg is, then he's like, well, now I know you're mad, I just wanted to make sure. Oh, we gotta love Patrick Troughton. Just after Klieg says Cybermen may have some use for the Doctor, he gets attacked by Cyberman. Cyberman broke the machine on its chest with all the yucky stuff leaking out, so the tomb got frozen as they're out the hatch. They outrun a cyber controller and close the door, making everything electrical again, and Cyberman sacrificed himself by closing the door and got electrocuted. Professor Parry is obviously sad that another life is lost and said sorry to the Doctor for how it ended. Jamie asks the Doctor if it's the last time they'll see the Cybermen, and the Doctor thinks so. However, he doesn't like making predictions. As they head off back to the TARDIS, there's one Cybermat lurking around, which could be a setup for the Wheel in Space. Well, I haven't seen the Wheel in Space, sadly, because the lost episodes. They animated first few minutes of part 1, which is a pity. So, that's the Tomb of the Cybermen, and it's not only my favourite Patrick Troughton story, but one of my favourite classic stories. It's fantastic. It's also Matt Smith's favourite Doctor Who story, which I can definitely see why. It is that good. What did you think of the Tomb of the Cybermen? I'd love to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Thanks people, as always, for watching, and see you in the next video.